All right, Tyli Williams, he is a young man that you identified throughout this process. What made him the right guy for the Lions?
Yeah, from the start, after assessing, being in my new role, having to look at multiple positions now, he was a guy that popped on tape. As far as we went through that stage one process of evaluations, some kind of introductory meetings and things like that, and he was one of those in that first bucket where I was like, Brad, I think I found my favorite. And then from there, it was a consensus by the final stage of the draft process, draft meetings. It was a consensus that we all felt the same way about Tyli as a player.
Not everybody can be a Lion.
Yep.
You have said that to me. Other coaches have said that to me. What allows him to check the boxes to say he can?
The tape speaks for itself. I mean, anybody with eyes can turn on his tape and see this is a good player. But here, what Brad and everybody in the front office has done a tremendous job of is not only evaluating the player, but the person as well. And I think that's when you talk about the culture of the team and bringing the player into this culture. They have to fit. And that's not just the player, that's the person. And being able to find that kind of sweet spot where it's not too good of an individual, especially at the D-line position, but they have that edge. But also they're a true, unique, genuine human being. And Tyli literally checked every box when you start going down that list of things that you're looking for. And, it just happened. I told him a week ago when we had him in on the visit, I said, you're my guy, but I don't know. I can't promise you it's going to happen. That's what we were just talking about. And just how everything happened, it was meant for him to be a Lion. I believe that.
Well, you're talking about he's got to have some nasty to him.
Absolutely.
And he does. Look, you guys have been a lead against the run for a couple of years now, and it seems like that's a spot where he's got a strength where he can come in and help you keep that going.
Absolutely. A lot of people talk about playing gap and a half. That's when you put a guy, say a 3 technique, he's in the B gap. But having the ability to shed and make the plays in the A and C gap once the ball declares, that's something that stood out on his tape versus other guys that we were evaluating throughout this process. And he told me, I said, what do you do best? And he said, I'm a playmaker. And a lot of guys say that, but his tape also validates it, getting on and off of blocks and finishing on the ball.
Coach Campbell talked about the fact that there's a lot of room left for him to grow. And he talked about you and he talked about Casey being able to get that out of him. What do you see that you say, I'm going to develop that in this young man?
That's probably the most exciting part about taking this player, is that what you see on tape is a really, really good player. He wouldn't have went where he went if he wasn't. But the upside to this player is where you get ultra excited, and putting him in a room with a veteran coach like Casey Rogers. And that's the first thing I asked him. I said, are you willing to be coached hard? Because Casey's been doing this for a long time, and he ain't going to care that you're a first-round pick. And he said, absolutely, Coach. It's the only thing I know. It's what we did at Ohio State. He's like, I enjoy the dirty work. He said, I enjoy the process. And that just speaks volumes, because a lot of guys like the shiny things that come with what we do here. But, it takes unique individuals, and we've been very fortunate to gain a lot of them here that enjoy the process and the dirty stuff.
Hey, final thing. You talk about coaching hard. You coach guys hard, and you've touched guys beyond the locker room and beyond that, beyond the linebacker room. What does it mean when you see a guy like Kirby sign that deal that he signed? Here is a guy that comes in as a third-round draft pick, and he realizes that dream.
It's the reason why we do what we do. To be honest, as coaches. And, I mean, everybody from a first-rounder to an undrafted free agent, to see these guys grow as human beings throughout the years and then put themselves in a situation, because we can coach hard all we want. If the player isn't compliant and doesn't have the ability and willing to go out and do what we're asking, none of that's going to happen. So I always put it back on the players, man. And I take my hat off to Kirby. You talking about ultra team guy, ultra competitor, a guy who lays it on the line each week in and week out. Nobody's more deserving than Kirby of that contract.